We're back, people, and today we're bringing on film on Nik Needham and what he brings to this Dolphins defense, returning from injury, getting activated this week. And I do like he's going to be so much better depth than what they had. He's at least going to be a solid depth defender. He's very versatile. Like, to me, he can play safety, dime, nickel, just being involved all in the middle of the defense. He can even play outside if really needed. But, I would like to see him more involved in that middle of that defense, being like that 6 DB that comes on the field when you have Ramsey and Howard on the outside, Koa as your nickel, Holland and Elliott as your safeties, and he's that 6 DB who can play like a dime linebacker, or just the dime position in general. Here you can see him playing safety. I think he can easily be a safety player down the line for this team. He's definitely done it in the past. It hasn't been his main role. He's mainly been that nickel. But here's disguising a too high look. He's buzzing down. They're running cover 3. He becomes a buzz defender. Look how he closes down to this running back out of the backfield. 3rd and long situation. He keys this all the way. That's good instincts, good burst right there. I don't think he has the speed to necessarily play on the outside corner the entire time. I'll definitely show some of that film with him playing outside corner, because that's what he did mostly in 2022 last season. But I think a better fit, and I think he's a pretty solid fit for the Fangio defense with that versatility, because he can kind of do a little bit of everything of what they ask. And playing, I think, early on, I don't know if he's going to be, how healthy he's going to be back to 100% like he was last season, but it's going to be nice to see. I think he'd at least play in that 10 snap range early on, and then maybe even more, especially if there ends up being more injuries. For example of him playing as a safety, disguising that look, playing as a too high, but then he's buzzing down Dolphins into a cover 3. I love the disguise of this. Look how he opens up his hips here, make this quarterback think that you're going into too high, but he's just baiting this guy. Now he starts to cheat down, find number 3 working across the field, get there at the 6, meet him. Good hit, good physicality. This is just good, smart football, and I feel like he's always been an intelligent, instinctful guy. Pretty fluid, quick twitch type athlete, not the greatest long, but good in short area type thing. And I feel like even though he's played limited safety reps, every time he's been there, he's looked very, very comfortable. So I wouldn't mind him getting that work, and then also being a guy, maybe be that 3rd safety, come down inside the box when needed, dime, nickel, really doing it all in that area of the field. Some 2022 film. Here we got Needham down in the red zone. Dolphins are going cover 2. You can see he's comfortable playing straight up pure zone. He has a lot of experience playing man in that Flores system, just being pure man-to-man, most of the time cover 1, cover 0 type looks. But he's also, I think, throughout his career, pretty instinctive understanding of his responsibilities in zone. And you kind of combine those two things, you kind of get that look of what he would be in that Fangio scheme. He's, that cloud flat corner right here. Doesn't want to, immediately go down into the flat when he sees the running back. He wants to gain some depth just in case 85 works to the corner and he can leverage that route. And the quarterback's reading him here. He knows it's cover 2. He sees a too high look. He's reading him. He sees him gain enough depth, but then he closes underneath, limits this play to only gain, a yard or 2. Pretty nice work as that flat defender. That's exactly what you want. Good, disciplined play from Nik Needham. 4th and 3 situation. Needham, bottom of the screen. This is the first game versus the Patriots last year. Another scenario where he's in cover 2. I like that he doesn't cover grass. Ko ends up making a good play. This is where Ko kind of broke out as that nickel. Also with Ramsey back, allows Ko to play in the slot. Now you have 2 very capable nickels if needed with Kohu and Needham, if Needham is up to that 100%. You never know after the Achilles injuries, it can be a little bit. But here, playing that flat, the guy takes his inside release, pass it off, try to get hands on, pass it off to Brandon Jones right there. See the running back coming out of the backfield. Now you basically end up bracketing him, but you attack that outside shoulder, close down. Don't want to, give up space. He's squeezing this route because it's a 4th and 3. He doesn't want to just give this up, this free play. That's where Jones is looking, so he gets down a little bit and then takes that away. Good spot. And then Jones is forced to chuck it up down the field to his tight end. I love his instincts in zone. It's we haven't seen a ton of it because they weren't always playing this when Needham was back here in that Flores defense, Boyer type thing. But here in cover 3, he's just finding guys across the field. You can watch this pre-snap, condensed formation, working across. And a lot of times, they'll have him follow this in the Fangio defense. Make sure, he's playing a tight 1/3. But sometimes, they play true cover 3 as well. They pass this off. But he doesn't just sit here and cover grass. He goes and finds a receiver working across the deep middle. A lot of times these things could be thrown, and he just lets it work right into him, squeeze towards it. Doesn't need to take himself out of the play. It's just good, smart football, understanding your positioning and your leverage of these route concepts. Here we get to see him playing some man-to-man in the nickel versus some quicker slot receivers, and you can see him just carrying drags, crosses across the field. Dolphins have really struggled with with that this season, even though if they're playing man or just like a match coverage, they don't know when to pass it off or not. I feel like Needham's pretty intelligent, but he can also has that a quick twitch athleticism to play these types of routes. He's always been pretty solid against them, taking good angles, reading these things, reading body language, and then just being at least in a spot to make those tackles if it was thrown, or just make a play at the catch point. His ability in that area in the slot, I think, is very, very impressive, and it would be helpful to this team. 101 to the boundary for Nik Needham, just on a vertical plane. I wouldn't say this is where he's most comfortable. Sometimes he'll get beat over the top, like he can struggle with a lot of speed out there. He doesn't have the, I know he didn't run the fastest 40. It's not like he can't do it. Like, I would feel better with him than some of the other corners that they have depth on the roster, but I do think at this point in his career, you kind of transition him down to being kind of a slot only or, safety type player. But here it is a good job staying patient, staying in that hip pocket, and then understanding, like, this is some good nuance at the top of this route. He's, everything's good right here, good technique. Get that inside hand to the inside shoulder. And then you see, with you're playing high upfield shoulder positioning, you're not on that low leverage shoulder. The receiver's going to turn back to the back shoulder. You turn into the receiver to play this. Doesn't get overly physical, hold, and then makes a play at the catch point. So showing off some solid ball skills there. He can kind of struggle more when he gets down the field, but that's a very nice play from Nik Needham in man coverage. Here he is at the bottom, matched up versus Jamar Chase, and you can kind of see where he can get blown off the ball. Like, he allows separation, just free release. He does make a play, which is nice at the catch point just because the ball was underthrown. Pretty solid recovery, but sometimes he can be a little late to open his hips and just when they get free releases like this, beat him. He can struggle versus top tier receivers on the outside like this. That's why I wouldn't have him play here full time, but it is nice to see him recovering. Like, this is open, but he kind of throws it more back shoulder. And you would like to see him, he doesn't get he kind of panics a little bit, but it's not overly panic. Doesn't go through the receiver. He starts to slow down, as you can see. So just get your hands up, play through the hands, which is nice to see him, not get the PI there. Usually when DBs aren't able to get their head around and ball is underthrown, it's pretty much always a PI, but he's able to slow it down, not go through the receiver, and just play with his hands. So pretty solid finish there from Nik Needham. Solid play here from Nik Needham. They motion across, and he has to follow Higgins all the way around, and this is just smart football intelligence. Carry him to the sideline, understanding the situation. When he's motioning this far out, there's pretty much only a couple things he can do from this spot right here with Higgins. So he doesn't try to squeeze down right away. He knows he's got to he's gonna work up vertically and either sit near the sticks, break it off on a comeback or just a curl, or he's really just working on a wheel route down the sideline. He's kind of reading that. He starts to slow play it, just reading the hips and the momentum of the receiver. He sees he's gonna work vertically. Now he opens up, gets in there, and then sort of squeezes that route to the sideline. Just plays it. Uses the receiver's own momentum to his advantage. Doesn't get panicky there. I really like that rep from Nik. Here's another example of Nik Needham going versus some vertical reps on the outside. And it's not always perfect. He gets a little caught with his hips there. Could have been a little more fluid, maybe some false steps. But he's still able to recover. Things aren't always going to be perfect technique-wise, but still be able to recover, get back in that hip pocket, and play through that back shoulder, maybe get a little too physical at the catch point. But I do love his competitiveness. He gives a high energy, and even though I don't think he's at his best in these types of situations, he will still at least give you his best and play with some competitiveness, and I think that's better than what they've had for the most part. Last play, they're going to break down for Nik Needham. This is the type of situation, plays I started with him at safety, him down in the nickel, playing some man coverage versus slot receiver. These are areas where he's very comfortable at. He will squeeze these routes. Look at that first initial step to the inside to try to maintain that leverage. Get hands-on, get physical, and now stay inside the hip pocket. Don't allow any separation. You can see the guys try to push off. You pull to stay tight. You break with him over the middle of the field. These stopping, keeping these to little separation on these in-breakers over the middle is very helpful. This Dolphins defense, it feels like where they've struggled the most this year, and Needham will definitely help playing, probably some limited snaps at first, depends on, how things play out with injuries and things like that. But I do think he ends up playing a role for this defense. The versatility is too helpful, and when he was healthy back, especially back in 2021, because he didn't play too much last year before he got hurt, he was a very, very solid nickel corner. And I think Kohu is also a very solid nickel corner, but he hasn't had a chance to play there as much this season. So having two guys that can do that, and Ramsey can also play down there if really needed. So they have guys that can really help run this system now in that secondary, and you could see it really go on full blast in the coming weeks. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.